pretty. Tell me when I'm ready to go, Jay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. We're going to call this meeting to order. I'm John Lajamodier. I'll be chairing the meeting. Just want to acknowledge being here at Whitecap Dakota First Nation in homeland of the Métis. I'd like to offer congratulations to all the newly elected leaders and also to the folks that got re-elected. I'm looking forward to working with you in a good way. And speaking of in a good way, I'd like to start by handing it over to Le Du Monde, our elders, for an opening prayer. Dr. Fleury.
Good morning, bon matin, kiao au. When I nakskatoyak, magagsipayak, one skayak, and ussewa, Camacho ebenigiak, Capitueka kiao, Métis Nation-Saskatchewan Government, Katapiek, Tsukemoyek, Shitskatoyek, Koyesh, Mantoga, Wechamanan. Kakioge o yes kanigani ek chikskita mek chmosta ek dan ek uta meeting umakat katashema gakko kita utaga ni kana yes chinihiya wa yak dene kakiab taugus sanemo yak ego mitchef egona kische kispen uta gani pau yak sigo kwetch mitto yak awanagi anan Tanik utagani poya. Mushom nanik kokom nanik lui real utaga pit nagakanop maak. Egonak sche kagini gani stak. Egosche utaki anan ki skotaman egwa. So pen a mark in ma kamustak. Tanik utagani poya. This morning we're going to start off in a good way as we start the next 4 years, and it was a beautiful celebration yesterday in harmony with respect and caring and coming together and feeling that understanding and the emotions that give us strength, those tears that flowed right from the heart and the mind connecting to feel while we were there and taking that oath. That's what it's all about, and why we're standing here together, to be able to understand that it's for us, but it's bigger than that. It's for our children, it's our grandchildren, if we're going to leave something for them. This morning we think about those that lost loved ones. Richard here, our CEO, just lost his uncle this morning, Uncle Mick, gone to the spirit world. And our regional director, Billy, for losing his son. And all those other people that lost your loved ones, we pray for you all and pray for us also. Those that are grieving and mourning for other reasons. Bring us together in one heart, one mind, one understanding, in harmony of building together the word love that we use and the respect and why we're here together today. God, our Creator, we come before you in prayer as we, the Métis Nation, have with respect and humility since our creation by your power and love. We thank you in a very special way for helping us uphold our pride in our culture, and especially our special and beautiful language, Michif, and other languages that we speak. God, our Creator, the Métis, your special people, come before you today with a very special purpose, celebration, and intention as we bring our leadership, our new elected people, to continue the governance process. God, our Creator, remember our forefathers, our Métis veterans, for their sacrifices and bravery at all cost. God, our Creator, we give thanks especially today as we honor those that we celebrated yesterday and today, and we continue celebrating together. we come together in open hearts and open minds to adjust our minds and our thinking to where we are, and we build hope and freedom for our nation. God, our Creator, we give thanks especially to Louis Riel and those Métis soldiers and our forefathers, our mothers, are the women that stood strong and still stand strong today with us to fight to protect our rights and our nationhood. Let us not forget yesterday, today, always, and tomorrow. Merci.
Thank you for that great prayer, Norman. So we're going to do a roll call now. Please give me a present. President Gleb McCallum.
Here.
Thank you. Secretary Marlene Hansen.
Here.
Laura Burnoff, Northern Region 1.
Uta.
Thank you. Leonard Montgrand, Northern Region 2. Is he joining online? Leonard Montgrand, Northern Region 2. Brennan Morasti, Northern Region 3.
Brennan Morasti, here.
Thank you. Ryan Lee Carrier, Eastern Region 1.
Present.
Thank you. Darcy Lepowick, Eastern Region 2A.
Here.
Welcome, Darcy. Mark Friesen, Eastern Region 3.
Bomatan.
Thank you. Loretta King, Western Region 1.
Good morning.
Billy Kennedy, Western Region 1A.
Here.
Sherry Ann McLennan, Western Region 2, currently suspended. Beverly Fullerton, Western Region 2A.
Tonche.
Wendy Gervais, Western Region 3, currently suspended. Autumn Lang LaRose, Youth President.
Ota.
Thank you. Darlene Langen, President of Métis Women. Thank you. We have quorum. So we're going to approve the agenda right now. I have to add one thing. We have a Maxi board appointment we have to address, and we're going to move that in at 7.0 at the start of the resolutions. Could I get a motion to accept the agenda? Mark Friesen, second. Darcy Lepowick, all in favor? Thank you. Agenda has been approved. Now we'll go to President Glenn McCallum for some opening remarks.
Good morning. Elder, thank you. Prayer kay mahain imi asagana tamachita kumsis ka mamopia katawa tamam tinima kamantumno iguas ay sino kaginiganista ko iguas ay sino gutagas kapitsik iguas across our province kawani hatsik sagi hatsik umama o papa o musumo kumo iguas wa kumaganwa kawani hatsik unimi na kemam tinit na utak kapia kuma Asabi nung machista 4 years tatos kata gyo kan tuhtamik. Welcome. Good morning kitna gyo tato ka kan tuhtamik kan tuhtawaya kasche. Asabi na pia go mi stehegi go ya sindutinan. Iwas nimiihtin tan sigay sigitap mo ko kawita tuskim ko sa federal government. Piagwanina, the provincial government. Piagwanmina, industry. Piagwanmina, institutions. But mao chigi way, kitay sinim nawag. Nuwa pahtin tamego kiyupigia. 8 years ago taga. Tamego kitay sinim na nagito kapitsik. Igwasi itapuagi tahkwa government kasi kati. Kuwa pahtino tanahto ipi uihunwa wa imigitsik yakamuhpigi ya igwase kwesi tapuhta ko tan sigi we kaitu tamuaya ko uyogitse mani mihtini wanma kaya bitam stegi we kitano te tutama umutagawas kapia. I hope kay katawa pahtamigi tom Utagwan tatayam ya humutagawas kapya. Tahto tagan tuhtamik umagamamawapya. Tapih tamik kiwesis chigia. The ministers of tagawas kapitsik. Their files is chikay tutah ko. Tatuski chiko yes. Kiogitse. Kantuhtamik are citizens. Yego, ndaw itinta ispay. Taimu tamak. Tantiya ya. Igual si tantiyo ituhtiya. Muy kwantagi we tapita akuta. Umuta dala tapa waskapya. Puga ista kui swipinigya. Igual sigik skiti no kwe sigik swipinigya. Ma chupogya pitch. Mr. Higi we tanana pachita. Pa muy kwe esta suhap soya. Tantiga we tuhtiya. Thank you, Elder, for the prayer this morning. And thanks for the remembrance in the prayer in regards to the loss of your uncle, our CEO, Richard, my bro, and Billy. I made that mistake the first time we got in, now I made it again. Anyway, your son, we think of you, my friend. As a council member, we think of you. As a Métis leader, we think of you. And we support you. Our prayers are with you because it's very hard to lose a family member. But the prayer says it all in regards to how we support you. And we go through that. Probably we missed quite a few people in regards to the many losses that we've had within the last 4 years. But you're in our prayers. You know, as we sit around this table, for the next 4 years. Yeah, Loretta's niece, Loretta, minister, we have you in our prayers. As we sit around this table, as you well know, within the last 2 months of our term, before the election, there was an assembly called, and it didn't happen. Some people boycotted the assembly. There was a lot of business that needed to be done. The last Provincial Métis Council I asked for never happened because certain individuals boycotted. You know, the people that are listening out there and expect the best from the people that are sitting around here, we will give you the best. We struggle sometimes. But the agenda items are in front of us. Every one of you sitting around this table as council members have a right and obligation to brief yourselves. We have our CEO, we have our COO, and we have directors, your directors. A lot of times we take so much space and time that our people don't get to hear in regards to the importance of your files. It's up to you to be able to talk and understand. And even yesterday, the disruption that happens. You know, talking to the young people, the new people that have voted, don't want that anymore. They don't want to hear it, they don't want to see it, but it still happens. From here on in, as we sit here, represent yourself as experts and professionals with the role that you have. And use the people that are there to support you within our government. I don't ask any questions when I'm sitting around this table. If I need to know something, I go ask the minister or the directors or our CEO, our COO. Because this time is precious for our people listening in, and it's precious for us to be able to do the business that we need to do. And we have to put 100% behind that to be able to accomplish the things that we want. We have a big agenda within the next 3 days that we'll be meeting. But from what I see, from who's sitting around this table, I can see not having only 2 days to finish off our agenda. I can see that. You're smart people, and as quickly as possible to be able to move. You'll have your opportunity as area directors to be able to engage with your regions, to be able to engage with your presidents, to be able to tell them what we do as a government and what you do as ministers to our people. But rest assured that you have a tougher job, not only representing your region, but representing the whole of Saskatchewan in the file that you hold. But I know you can do it. I have every confidence in the files that have been given out that you can do your jobs. I get to speak of the success of the Métis Nation, our government. And it sounds good to be able to put out those numbers and stats in regards to the success of our government. And I will say once again that I trust our staff. Every day, the hard work that they do, and the lack of confidence and the negativity some individuals bring to our government, that they don't trust the people that we've hired. And I talked about that in my opening remarks yesterday. But there are probably more people listening in, and I hope they are. To be able to know that your government will never steal money, that your government hires the best, and they do the best work. And I applaud them. Let's continue working in a good way. And don't forget that prayer that was said this morning. We talk about our elders and our veterans. We talk about how important they are. And when there's confusion or the lack of commitment to this government and the job that is in front of us, I thought always that the prayer would keep us grounded. But sometimes it doesn't. We forget. Let's not do that anymore. We pray for a reason. And that reason is to be honest and committed. We swore on the oath yesterday to uphold the principles of our government. That oath always should be in front of you to remind yourself in regards to why you hold this seat around this table. Up there, you haven't seen us yet. The cameras haven't come on yet for the people that are on live stream. I asked for Riel's picture to be in front of us, and it's right there. I'm going to read what it says. No matter how much money we have, no matter how much good programs we have, the spirit of our people, of each and every one of us as Métis people, and the people that work for us, non-Indigenous and First Nation, have to be grounded in the spirit of our leader that sacrificed for us and got hung for what he believed in, self-determination and self-governance. And this is his quote. And think about that. I'm always grounded. I always talk about Riel. The same way that I talk about my mom and my dad. The same way that I talk about my grandfather and my grandmother. Because I will never forget my identity, culture, values, and language and what I've been taught. When I spoke yesterday, I talked about the time that my dad and I went duck hunting. And all of a sudden, he stands up and looks around. Here I'm sitting. Negusis, my son. Kiano magitaskino. This is our land. Gutu magianot yuhtapanuhuya. This is how we make our living. Never forget that. So the code that I'll be reading out this morning is so important to that history of who I am as an individual and a Métis man. And the life that I've lived with my mom and dad and my grandfather and my grandmother, the same as you. The same as you. What he believed at the time was considered treason. That's why he got hung. But he still created his provisional government, made the rules, and made decisions that would jeopardize his life. And it did. But many years after, over 150 years after, this quote stands so strong in my mind, in my life, and hopefully everybody's life. It reads, I am more convinced every day that without a single exception, I did right. The story I just told you. He knew he was right. Without a single exception, I did right. And we get to benefit today as we sit around this table. What if he didn't do that? And I have always believed that. Tapiton dapu ihtini awan ma. Tapiton dapu ihtini awan ma. And I have always believed that. As I have acted honestly, and magiwe kay tu tamani kita puih tamani, go ki gi chita puih taman, ki chita puih taman, honestly believe. As I have acted honestly, the time will come, kita tawi tagiskita mo gay sinuwak. The time will come when the people of Canada, ay sino go ta Canada gawigit, sig tagiskita mo, will see tabapah tamagaste and acknowledge it. And now, what do we have? MOU, Framework Agreement, Core Governance Agreement, and now Treaty. I just got a phone call from the chief negotiator just a couple of days ago. We have to get on this again, Glenn. Then I phoned our CEO in Ottawa, and they had a meeting, had a very good conversation. As a matter of fact, they're lining up a meeting for me to go to Ottawa. We will get this file going. We have a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. There is no time for nonsense. There's no time for sidetracking. If we truly believe in the spirit that we carry ourselves, in the oath that we took yesterday, here's where we get the job done. I thank you for listening to me this morning, and I thank you for putting your name forward to be a part of this government. People listening in and people in the room, our staff and you leaders, this is our government. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President McCallum, for those inspiring words. So number 6, proposed consent agenda items. 6.1, approval of Recording Secretary Diane Parsons. 6.2, review approval of February 27, 2025 and March 18, 2025 Provincial Métis Council draft minutes. And 6.3, receive for information Provincial Métis Council Youth Election Rules 2025. No question. Youth President Langler-Rose.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to raise attention to the youth election rules were brought back to the PMC. I think that was mentioned in the last PMC meeting that would be happening. They're also online on the MNS election website. And for nominations will open July 19th until July 24th, with the election date happening on August 9th. And that's for the youth president position as well as the regional youth representative. So in this election, there'll actually be 2 regional youth representatives for every region, so a council of 24 young people. So to please share with your local presidents and share with youth in your community, and for anyone at home watching who's a youth and considering running, please, I strongly urge you to put your name forward, and urge you all to encourage the young ones in your life to put their name forward for leadership. So thank you, Chair, for letting me raise that.
Thank you, Youth President. Thank you for your 4 years of service. It was exemplary. Absolutely. So all in favor of the consent agenda? Opposed? Okay, thank you very much. Now we're going to go into the resolutions. We're going to start with Resolution 7.0, which is the Maxi board appointment. So, Métis Addictions Council of Saskatchewan Board of Director appointments. Whereas the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan MNS recognizes the distinctiveness of Métis identity, culture, values, and language, inclusive of knowledge keepers, les vieux monde, the old ones or elders, youth, women, and distinctive resources, which is incorporated into proposals and decisions of the Provincial Métis Council, PMC. Whereas the Métis Addictions Council of Saskatchewan, MACSI, is an affiliate of the MNS, and the PMC has the authority to approve by resolution the appointment of members to the MACSI Board of Directors, the board. Whereas MACSI has identified a list of qualified candidates to fill vacant board positions through a call for nominations, and whereas the Minister of Health and Mental Health and Addictions has approved Rebecca Rakow as candidate for the board. Therefore, be it resolved that the Provincial Métis Council approves the following individual to be appointed to the Board of Directors of Métis Addictions Council of Saskatchewan for a 2-year term, beginning on June 25, 2025, and ending on June 25, 2027. Rebecca Rakow. Dated on this 25th day of June, 2025, moved by Beverly Fullerton, Western Region 2A, seconded by Mark Friesen, Eastern Region 3. Ms. Fullerton, still so move?
I do, and I'd like to speak to it.
Thank you. Mark Friesen, still so second.
I do second, and I also will speak to it.
Okay, thank you. So Ms. Fullerton, then Ms. Friesen.
Thank you. So yes, MACSI has been doing a lot of work and a lot of moving forward, and filling this, this board chair position is quite important, and I would like to read her bio to the council quickly. So Rebecca Rakow lives in Regina, was raised in Pilot Butte, and has roots in rural Saskatchewan in the Good Eve and Ituna area. She is the Assistant Director with the Canadian Mental Health Association, Saskatchewan Division. Her portfolio includes program development, youth programming, overseeing the research department, advocacy, and training programs. One of the programs that she has developed, MS Square, or 2, is Mentally Safe Minecraft Server, which won Canada's Premier's Award for Innovation in Mental Health and Addiction Services, and has been invited to speak at conferences both locally and nationally on a variety of mental health topics. She has her BA honors in psychology and is a registered social worker with a strong interest in collaborative research. For over 20 years, she has worked as a caregiver for many vulnerable populations and spent 10 years as a stay-at-home mom to her own 5 children. She also has created recreational therapy, company for seniors in care that had 3 employees, 20 volunteers, and served 96 seniors. She is currently working on her MSW thesis in the University of Regina and certification of nonprofit management through distant learning at Simon Fraser University. She holds membership on the board of directors for the Bridgepoint Center for Eating Disorders, the Disability Income Support Coalition, and other community groups. She also assists with the board education surrounding policy governance. So I ask that the council do consider passing this motion, and I'll pass it over to my colleague, Minister Friesen.
Ms. Friesen?
Thank you, Minister Fullerton. I do also support this nomination to the MACSI board. As the outgoing chair for the MACSI board, we have had vacancies on that board in the past, and we filled those vacancies with very qualified individuals who work in the sector, who also are familiar with mental health and addictions for our people, the Métis Nation citizens of this province. Rebecca has also supported MACSI with their 90-day treatment model that was implemented over a year ago. And she was actually, she trained the staff on that model and was very instrumental in designing that treatment model and doing the evaluation and also doing the measurement tools for that treatment model. We're very happy to have Rebecca be involved in MACSI at that point, and I would highly recommend her as a member of the MACSI board at this time. Marcy.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments regarding this motion? Seeing none. Oh, hold on. Okay, Mr. Morasti.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good morning, everybody. Elder, thank you for the prayer. As a member at this table and a citizen who has lived a life of 25 years in addiction, I've experienced firsthand what it's done to me and my family and friends, and beyond my space. I'm asking this council and our staff I've spoken to before and yesterday that at one point or some point down the road here in the very near future, that we assemble and we reevaluate or assess our approach as a government, Métis distinct government, on addiction, treatment, and recovery. I have different feelings on what addiction is based on my lived experience of 25 years, and that's my doctorate degree on the wall as an FYI. And I would ask that our council consider that for the very near future. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, she was going to add to that, Ms. Fullerton.
Yes, I would like to add a friendly amendment to this, that we make sure we proceed with a distinction-based approach.
Then where would we put that?
Elder Maximorn, it would be nice to have an elder sitting on that committee or the board, because they have a lot of experience and a lot of them have sobriety and they can give advice and participate in this stuff. Just something to bring up, so we get our elders involved and stuff like that.
Okay, thank you. President McCallum.
We can easily do that. Former health minister and the minister now, Minister Fullerton, will take that into consideration. It can easily be done to be able to appoint. We're starting to practice in a good way in regards to how we involve our elders, and that'll be taken into consideration. If you read back in this resolution, we put in there, if you roll back right from the start, this resolution. Right there, the Saskatchewan recognizes the distinctiveness of Métis identity, culture, values, and language, inclusive of knowledge keepers. That's you guys. So it's written in there. And at the same time, but it has to be specific to the department that Minister Fullerton is in charge of, to be able to have part of the program, because programs are delivered without that distinctiveness. That distinctiveness and cultural and elder involvement needs to be written into that resolution in order for us to be precise and focused in regards to what we'd like to see in healing moving forward. So those are the changes, and thank you, Minister, for doing that. Mr. Chair, thank you.
Thank you. So does that first paragraph cover what you're asking for? Okay. So any other questions regarding this motion?
Question?
Questions called. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Welcome to the board, Ms. Rakow. Sounds like a great candidate. 7.1, Métis distinction, identity, culture, values, and language. Whereas the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan, MNS, recognizes the distinctiveness of Métis identity, culture, values, and language, inclusive of knowledge keepers, Katayak, youth, women, and distinctive resources, which is incorporated into proposals and decisions of the Provincial Métis Council, PMC. Whereas the Métis are a distinct Indigenous people with shared customs, collective identities, rooted in kinship, and a unique relationship to the land, whose presence and nationhood predate Canada's westward expansion into the historic Northwest. Whereas the Métis Nation within Saskatchewan emerged from historic Métis communities that were established along key riverways and trade routes, among other areas, and these communities have remained vital despite colonial disruptions. Whereas the Métis Nation within Saskatchewan has historically spoken many distinct languages, including Nahéiwan, Cree, Northern Michif, Heritage Michif, Michif French, and the Denisilan, each representing threads of the Métis Nation within Saskatchewan's living heritage. Whereas families are the heart of Métis culture and community in Saskatchewan, and it was through the coming together of Métis families that locals were formed, creating the foundation for the governance of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan. Whereas the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan, as the government representing the Métis Nation within Saskatchewan, continues to uphold the identity, culture, values, and language through its governance and institutions. Therefore, be it resolved that the Provincial Métis Council formally recognizes and reaffirms Métis distinction, being identity, culture, values, and language, as foundational to the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan's existence and governance. Further be it resolved that the Provincial Métis Council directs the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan to undertake research and development of Métis language legislation that acknowledges the rich linguistic heritage of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan Government and safeguards the vitality of these languages for future generations. Conduct research in partnership with existing agreements signed with the University of Saskatchewan on historic and distinctive Métis communities, including locals, throughout Saskatchewan to ensure a deeper and more accurate understanding and acknowledgement of the Métis Nation within Saskatchewan's enduring footprint, and engage with Kitayak and the Old Ones and other knowledge keepers to ensure the cultural alignment of the information gathered. Be it further resolved that the Provincial Métis Council calls on the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly to ratify the directions set out above, ensuring that Métis distinction continues to be enshrined within the governance and future of the Métis Nation Saskatchewan, dated this 25th day of June 2025. Pardon me. Moved by Brennan Morasti, Northern Region 3, seconded by Beverly Fullerton, Western Region 2A. Minister Morasti, still so move.
Yes, sir, with one addition on the third whereas, if we can add in Métis footprint.
Third whereas. So whereas the Métis Nation within Saskatchewan emerged from historic Métis communities that were established along key riverways and trade routes, among other areas, and these communities remain vital. That one?
It's towards the end there. This one was, there was a resolution passed on this one already, but the changes, the add-ons in regards to the new resolution. Sorry, Mr. Chair, thank you. Anyway, it's the last part where it's Métis.
As the government representing the Métis Nation within Saskatchewan continues to uphold the identity, culture, values, and language through its governance and
Keep
institutions.
going. There's a place there, it's formally recognized Métis distinction and ethical.
It's in the therefore. The Provincial Métis Council formally recognizes and reaffirms Métis distinction, being identity, culture, values, and language, as foundational to the Métis Nation Saskatchewan's existence and governance.
There's a piece there in a statement that it says. Let me explain first
Second
what I'm
bullet.
trying to say here.
Okay.
When we talk about our government, under our government, we have education, health, especially the land issue. That'll be talked about quite a bit with the Northwest land under the Northwest land claim. What is the land claim? It's the Métis footprint. So the language has to be consistent in regards to the job that we're doing, that everybody gets to recognize or understand what Métis footprint is. The Métis footprint. And it really tells or precisely focuses in regards to our way, our land, the Métis footprint. So there was a paragraph there that
It's
said
that very
something,
last bullet.
Yeah,
It says enduring footprint right at the end.
yeah, Métis footprint, that's
Okay,
right.
so it's there.
I should have caught it right away, but
Okay, so it's there. Mr. Morasti, still so move.
Yes, sir, and I'd like to make a statement.
Thank you. Minister Fullerton, still so second.
I do also with a discussion after.
Okay, Mr. Morasti, you're up.
Thank you, and President will forgive you. President, Provincial Secretary, respected regional representatives, elders, youth president, family and friends in the back, and those online. Today, I speak in support of and introduce the Métis Distinction Resolution, which is a foundational piece to our government. This resolution does more than outline administrative steps, but it reaffirms who we are as a people. We, the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan, are not simply an organization or a population. We are a people, a nation, with a shared and living identity deeply rooted in our kinship systems, languages that connect and give meaning to who we are, a culture that grounds us, and values that provide balance in our everyday lives. These are not abstract ideas. They are the teachings of our Kiteyak, which is elders, the stories of our families, and the living presence of our locals, formed by families and communities across this land, our historic homeland. This resolution rightfully positions our identity, culture, values, and language not as a side element, but as foundations of our governance. It acknowledges our unique history, including the multilingual and multicultural richness of our communities, where Northern and Heritage Michif, Cree, Dene, French Michif, and other languages were and continue to be spoken. Through this resolution, we formally recognize and reaffirm the distinctiveness of the Métis Nation within Saskatchewan, and we move forward with tangible steps, advancing language legislation to safeguard our Métis footprint, deepening research into our historic Métis communities in partnership with academic institutions such as the University of Saskatchewan, and ensuring that all of this is guided by the voices of our elders and knowledge keepers, grounding our work in cultural integrity. This work is not symbolic. It is essential to who we are and who we will continue to be. It sets a course for governance that is not only representative, but rooted in language, culture, community, and our realities. I fully support the adoption of this resolution and urge my colleagues to endorse it so we may move it forward to the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly for ratification. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Morasti. Minister Fullerton.
Thank you. Yes, I just want to make one quick amendment. If we can add under the whereas, under the inclusive of knowledge keepers, Kituayak youth, can we make sure that we're including Leviu as the language matters and the words that we're using to address our old people? Leviu.
Leviu Monde.
Leviu, sorry. Yeah,
Okay, so in the first whereas.
yeah,
Okay, so we'll say inclusive of Leviu Monde,
yes,
knowledge keepers. Okay.
thank you. And
Mr.
I-
Morasti, you're good with that?
I would prefer Kiteyak go first because that is my roots, and that is the purpose of this as a northern citizen of this nation and government. Thank you.
Comfortable with that? Okay, after Kiteak. Knowledge keepers, Kiteak, Leviu Monde. Anybody else want to speak to this? Secretary Hansen.
I just need clarification, like my colleague there said, Beverly Fullerton, words are important. And Glenn mentioned earlier, as he was, President McCollum mentioned that he mentioned Northwest Métis Council, and we will be meeting a lot in regards to this. When I was out, and I think a lot of us heard in the last few months, and then Brennan just mentioned Northern. Is this provincial-wide, like, because we're talking about the whole Métis, and I just think our words have to be we have to be very cautious with our words. When I heard Northern Saskatchewan and Northern, and I'm a Northerner and 100% behind it, however, really want to make it clear for the rest of the people across the province that it is for provincial-wide. So just, thank you.
Thank you, Secretary. Minister Morasti.
Thank you, Secretary. And yes, the purpose of this resolution is to identify our roots as Métis people in this province, north, central, and south, across this homeland. The Métis footprint here at home. Saskatchewan has a footprint and a story to tell, and our language, through our elders, connects us to that identity, culture, and values. And that's the purpose of this. It is a provincial resolution. It solidifies the official languages of our government and our story, our people. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on that? Yeah, President McCallum.
Keep it there. See, engage with Kihtiayak, meaning all Kihtiayak across our province. You said a key word there in regards to making our people understand, in regards to what resolutions we're passing. If there can be a friendly amendment to engaging with North, Central, and South Kihtiayak. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, we can add, are you, okay? Engage with North Central and South Kitayak. Any other comments, questions? Questions called, all in favor? And so passed. Thank you. Now we're gonna go to number 7.2, portfolio assignments. Ministerial, yeah. Ministerial portfolio assignments, whereas Articles 2.4 and 4.4B of the Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan Constitution confer upon the President the discretion to assign ministerial portfolios subject to the approval of the Provincial Métis Council, PMC, and ratification by the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly, MNLA. Whereas Article 2.4 of the Constitution further mandates that the assignment of ministerial portfolios are restricted to members of the MNLA. And whereas the President has made the following appointments of ministerial portfolios on June 23rd, 2025 in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Lands and Resources, Agriculture and Environment, Darcy Lepowick, Eastern Region 2A. Self-Determination and Self-Government, Brennan Morasti, Northern Region 3. Housing and Homelessness, Billy Kennedy, Western Region 1A. Finance, Marg Friesen, Eastern Region 3. Early Learning and Childcare, Education, Language and Identity, Laura Burnoff, Northern Region 1. Economic Development, President Glenn McCallum. Health and Mental Health and Addictions, Beverly Fullerton, Western Region 2A. Child and Family Services, Loretta King, Western Region 1. Northern Affairs and Emergency Management, Leonard Montgrand, Northern Region 2. Veterans, Ryan Carrier, Eastern Region 1. Therefore, be it resolved that the ministerial portfolio appointments made by the President as aforesaid be approved as of June 25, 2025, subject to ratification at the next sitting of the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly. Dated this 25 day of June, 2025, moved by President Glenn McCallum, seconded Laura Burnoff, Northern Region 1. President McCallum, still so move.
Yes, I do.
Minister Burnoff, still so second.
Yes.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Minister Friesen.
Marcy, Speaker, I just want to congratulate all my colleagues around the table and welcome to a new term. And I'm excited to work with you all. We're all going to be interrelated and collaborative this term with our portfolio. So thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you. Marcy.
Thank you. President McCallum.
You know, there's one role that the President plays, a major role, to be able to have our government functioning the way it should. It's an honor to be able to have you with your qualifications, your dedication to this government, but at the same time, we now have to get to work. I know that the last term, the terms before that, there was too much politics played within those ministries. No more politics. You have to get to work. You have to do the work that is needed for our citizens. And our senior staff, and I will be briefed, and I will ask you within your departments in regards to where are you at, where are you going, where's your moving plan moving forward. And I compliment the previous ministers that have been there doing the good job, the files that they've moved forward. Now you're tasked with that as we sit here. So a lot of times when politics is being played, when I make the decision as the president of the Métis Nation of Saskatchewan, people question, and rightfully so maybe, but at the same time, I have to be assured and really in tune with our government in regards to your staff, your directors. You need to be briefed after, sit with your directors, see where your files are at, What are the ongoing negotiations that are happening within a certain file? When we come here the next time, you're gonna be briefed on your file. And we're gonna be talking about your file, depending what agenda items are important. They're all important, but what I'm saying is what are the priorized files that we have? Ongoing negotiations, CERM, for instance, Saskatchewan Environment Research Management, with the provincial government and our government on the harvesting agreement. We're very close. You have to get briefed by your team, your staff. And there's other areas like health benefits for our elders. There's ongoing negotiations happening right now. Then you have to get busy to be able to know where they're at, who's doing what. And so a lot of you, the housing file, and I can go on and on. There's so much to do, but you're smart, you're knowledgeable, and hopefully engaging with the people that you need to engage with. So that when we sit at this table, even prior to the ones that don't have the file, connect with the ministers. Get the answers from the ministers and the directors so that we don't take up the time of our people listening in. I want them to know what we're doing, where are we at, where are we going, what are we negotiating. So there's so many files that we have to work on. But I thank you for accepting those ministries, and I know that you're going to do a good job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President McCallum, and as he mentions those folks online, I'd like to welcome the 115 people that have joined us. Any other comments or questions?
I have a comment.
Secretary Hansen.
I'd like to congratulate everyone that is appointed for ministry. I have a portfolio. I'm provincial secretary, one of the executive, and I think we've all noted that I have not been appointed for a portfolio, which is fine. I don't have an issue with that. What I would like to suggest for the future, though, is I wasn't asked, and I understand that according to the Constitution, that the president has the right to appoint, which I respect. However, we've talked about working together and building trust, and I think sometimes we have to trust, and I kind of heard, or didn't kind of hear, I did hear that President McCallum say that he gives the portfolios to who he thinks will do the job. I wasn't approached at all, so maybe in the future, it's important that at least you let or talk to all of the individuals that are participating in the PMC and just let them know ask them their strengths or how they would like to participate, because coming to the table and it's just a little, just a good start to working together, and I think that's really important instead of coming to the table and you kind of feel left out. But welcome everybody for their ministry portfolios, but I do believe that there should be some kind of communication with all individuals moving forward, even if they're not going to get a portfolio, just out of respect. Thank you.
Thanks, Secretary. President McCallum.
Anyway, let's look at our history. I, as president, have to live up to what I just read to you that was written up there. That's where we come from. When Riel created a provisional government, he did it because he truly believed in governance. And fast forward 100 and some years after, we lived under, there it is right there. And we've lived under the nonprofit. Well, the nonprofit is not a government. It's a provincial policy. Probably at that time, we didn't have a choice to be able to, but only to sign on as a nonprofit to get a few dollars from the province or the federal government. But now we have MOU, I mentioned again, MOU, framework or governance agreement, and the crown obligation is there to be able to have the government, federal government deal with us nation to nation and government to government. And that's what we've done. If we had had that assembly, it's so hard to be able to work ourselves out of the things that would stall self-government, which is the nonprofit, where we're intertwined within our Constitution. If we had that assembly, there was resolutions waiting to be passed that we wouldn't have a secretary and we wouldn't have a treasurer. There would have been a president, one vice president, and a second vice president. That was on the books for us to do, and we didn't do it. And it would have been very clear in regards to what roles certain individuals may have within our government. But we, as a government, have to commit to structuring ourselves the way we want, not under the nonprofit. I will never, as long as I'm here, follow the nonprofit. If I believe truly in regards to what our leader died for, and the agreements that we've signed, read them. The MOU, framework, core governance agreement, honor of the crown is part of that agreement. And we had a very long conversation when we had a meeting in Vancouver, where the honor of the crown wasn't part of that core governance agreement. And Gerald said, no, I will not sign this. I will not support you, President, if you sign this, until honor of the crown is a part of this so that we are protected when we sign agreements with the federal government. And that's exactly what we did. And it didn't take long. The government embraced it. We thought that would be sidetrack our negotiations. It didn't. They recognized it and included within that agreement, core governance agreement, that honor of the crown, no matter what government had taken over, they have an obligation under the crown to work with us directly and not disrupt our programming. So we're in a kind of situation where we still have to be very clear in regards to being a government. And I look forward to September when that resolution is introduced, which we should have done, which was our obligation to make it clear to our people that we are a government. And so, yes, some positions will be sitting in limbo. Absolutely. Because the nonprofit will not dictate this government where we go. Not very long ago, there was two factions in this province. One of them was Gerald Morin and Robert Doucette. I was part of the Gerald team. And we had the majority because I respect the Elections Act. There will never be a time when two individuals are going to dictate to our government what we do. You got elected democratically, you got elected to sit around this table, and you will sit at this table and have a voice. But we got some correcting to do. And I look forward to September when we do that. Thank you.
Thank you, President. Any other comments or questions regarding the appointments?
Well, I don't have a comment in regards to the appointments, but I do have a comment to President McCollum's comments. Back, like, the work was done in November, the people spoke at the MNLA, the last MNLA. So that, we have to move on from that until we go back. And so I don't understand why we continue to hang on to that. Also, certain positions going to be sitting in limbo, then is that me going to be sitting in limbo? You know, just from the comments, it sounds like the certain positions will be sitting in limbo, and just for clarification, because it just appears that you mentioned somebody, some positions will be sitting in limbo, and I guess I'm asking you if I'm going to be the one sitting in limbo. Thank you.
I will never give you an answer, a direct answer to the question of you're going to be sitting in limbo. All you have to do is look at our government in regards to the work that we need to do, in regards to separating ourselves from the nonprofit and creating a true government that we should be. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Morasti.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I just want to say that trust is earned. It is not given based off demand. And as elected officials of this Métis government, we are here to support the vision of our leadership, from Louis Riel to present day, a third-term president, and even more to support and enhance the support programs and services that we deliver as a Métis government. Thank you.
So that's, any other questions, comments? Ms. Hanson.
I'm speaking to Minister Morasti here. Trust is earned, and what I'm hearing out there is that we're to be coming together and gathering and working together, and so I think I've earned my trust by the people voting for me, and now I'm sitting here hearing trust is earned. Well, I don't think that that's a very fair comment, but thank you.
Okay, so that's a conversation you folks, I think, should have offline. Okay, thank you. I heard question. Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Okay, one opposed. So moved.
On the record?
Yeah, Secretary Hansen opposed. So motion passed. Congratulations to the ministers. All right, 7.3 Ethics Committee. Whereas the Human Resources Committee is a standing committee of the Provincial Métis Council that has been established pursuant to the Constitution Article 3.4A. Whereas Section 8.1 of the Handbook for Executives, Ministers, and Members of the Provincial Métis Council, the Executive Handbook, states that the President will make recommendations to the Provincial Métis Council, PMC, for approval as to who sits on standing committees. Whereas the name Ethics Committee more appropriately captures the function and duties of the committee, and whereas the President, MNS, has recommended the following persons to the Ethics Committee: Brennan Morasti, Northern Region 3 Co-Chair; Marg Friesen, Eastern Region 3 Co-Chair; Beverly Fullerton, Western Region 2A; Laura Burnoff, Northern Region 1. Therefore be it resolved that the Provincial Métis Council hereby approves that the Human Resources Committee be renamed to Ethics Committee, and further be it resolved that the Provincial Métis Council approves the following appointments to the Ethics Committee: Brennan Morasti, Northern Region 3 Co-Chair; Marg Friesen, Eastern Region 3 Co-Chair; Beverly Fullerton, Western Region 2A; Laura Burnoff, Northern Region 1. Dated this 25th day of June, 2025, moved by Brennan Morasti, Northern Region 3, seconded Marg Friesen, Eastern Region 3. Minister Morasti, still so move.
Yay.
Thank you. Mr. Friesen, still so second.
In theory, yes. I am in favor. However, I do not feel comfortable seconding a resolution where I'm named as a member of the committee. So I would ask one of my colleagues around the table if they would second the motion.
Okay. Minister King?
I'd be prepared to do that.
Thank you. Seconded by Loretta King. Any comments, questions?
Question?
Questions called. All in favor? Opposed? One
On
abstention.
record? You want that on record?
Yeah. One abstention by Secretary Hansen. So moved. Okay, we got 5 minutes before the break. I think we should be able to put this one in. Finance Committee, 7.4. Whereas the Finance Committee is a standing committee of the Provincial Métis Council that has been established pursuant to the Constitution, Article 3.4A. Whereas the terms of reference for the Finance Committee adopted by the Provincial Métis Council on April 19, 2024, state that the Minister of Finance is Chair of the Finance Committee and that members of the committee are appointed based on the recommendations of the President MNS, PMC number 240419-04. And whereas the President MNS has recommended the following persons to the Finance Committee: Marg Friesen, Eastern Region 3 Chair; Loretta King, Western Region 1; Billy Kennedy, Western Region 1A; Brennan Morasti, Northern Region 3; Darcy Lepowick, Eastern Region 2A. Therefore be it resolved that the Provincial Métis Council approves the following appointments to the Finance Committee: Marg Friesen, Eastern Region 3 Chair; Loretta King, Western Region 1; Billy Kennedy, Western Region 1A; Brennan Morasti, Northern Region 3; Darcy Lepowick, Eastern Region 2A. Dated this 25th day of June, 2025. Moved by Marg Friesen, Eastern Region 3. Still so, and seconded by Loretta King, Western Region 1. Minister Friesen, still so move.
I'm in favor of the resolution.
Okay.
However, I would like one of
Autumn-
my colleagues to
Autumn
please
Lang-LaRose has
confirm.
agreed
Thank
to
you.
be the mover. Ms. King, still so move.
I would also like to request someone else, if possible.
Okay, Minister Laura Burnoff with the second. Thank you very much. Any questions on this? Questions called. All in favor? Okay, opposed? Opposed. Secretary Hansen abstained. Ms. Langen abstained. So moved. All right. Look at that. We're right on time. 10:30. We're going to take a break for 15 minutes. We'll reconvene at 10:45. Can we get everybody back to your spots, please? We have a heavy agenda this afternoon. Okay, folks, let's get back to our agenda, please. Can we get everybody back to the table, please? To the resolutions, number 7.5, Provincial Métis Council Conduct Policy. Whereas the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan MNS recognizes the distinctiveness of Métis identity, culture, values, and language, inclusive of knowledge keepers, le vieux monde, the old ones or elders, youth, women, and distinctive resources, which is incorporated into proposals and decisions of the Provincial Métis Council, PMC. Whereas the MNS is committed to promoting transparency, integrity, and accountability in all aspects of government operations, including the conduct of its elected officials. Whereas in 2017, the PMC adopted in principle interim rules of order and parliamentary procedure and interim code of conduct, conflict of interest 17-12-10-04, and at the next PMC meeting approved the code of conduct, conflict of interest 18-03-02-03. Whereas in November 2019, the PMC approved the handbook for the executive, ministers, and members of the Provincial Métis Council, handbook, which has served as a guiding document to outline expectations for conduct, responsibilities, and ethical standards for PMC members, PMC 1911-08-08. Whereas the PMC directed that a technical review committee be formed to review the handbook and develop recommendations for its continued refinement, improvement, and enhancements to support good governance and sound process to support the work of the MNS government, PMC 2106-18-04. Whereas the proposed Provincial Métis Council Conduct Policy, attached as Schedule A, incorporates the recommendations of the Technical Review Committee, updating and replacing the handbook for the executive, ministers, and members of the Provincial Métis Council to ensure clarity, consistency, and alignment with the MNS Constitution and pertinent legislation. Whereas the PMC has reviewed the proposed Provincial Métis Council Conduct Policy and finds it to be in the best interest of the MNS government and its citizens to adopt an updated framework for conduct and governance. Therefore, be it resolved that the Provincial Métis Council, PMC, at its duly held meeting on June 25, 2025, approves the adoption of the Provincial Métis Council Conduct Policy attached as Schedule A, which replaces and updates the handbook for the executive, ministers, and members of the Provincial Métis Council and the Code of Conduct, Conflict of Interest. Dated this 25th day of June, 2025, moved by Minister Mark Friesen, Eastern Region 3, seconded by Minister Beverly Fullerton, Western Region 2A. Minister Friesen, still so move?
Yes, I do. I shall move, and I'd like to speak to it too, please.
Thank you. Minister Fullerton, still so move?
I do, and I'd also like to have a quick discussion for it.
Thank you. Okay, we'll start with Minister Friesen.
Merci, Chair. This new revised handbook is going to actually, in practice, it was implemented and discussed at our previous Provincial Métis Council meeting as has been suggested. We workshopped it, and as far as I can see that it's very fulsome handbook. It articulates the practices that we've put in place in the past, and of course it has closed the gap on some components that were missing, i.e. the complaint process and how we conduct ourselves as a member of this government with each other, with our citizens, and with other partners and stakeholders that are connected to MNS. I totally support the handbook because it has been in theory under review for the last several years. And we have, of course, as you know, have had some concerns and issues on how do we address behavior that is not becoming of an elected official. and how do we address each other, and what's the process to do that? So now it has been formalized, and the process is very clear in the handbook. And also, most importantly, how do we support our staff, and how do we connect and work as a team, and how does staff connect with us, and what's the process if in fact there's been some conflict there? So how do we resolve that conflict? It's articulated in the handbook, and how do we move past it? So now it's in policy, and we have, as I mentioned, we have workshopped this, and I feel confident that now, going forward, that there's a smooth transition, and there's no question ever should be raised now on what the conduct should be of elected officials around this table. So I am in favor. I support the handbook 100%. As the former chair of the Ethics Committee and now the co-chair, I'm in favor. Marcy.
Thank you, Minister. Minister Fullerton.
Thank you so much for this, and I do want to thank the PMC and the staff for working so diligently and so hard on this. And yes, we did have the workshop, and we did have an opportunity to, review and go over it and make sure that it aligns with our values and our integrity and the way we want to move forward as a government in representing our citizens and bringing their voices to this table. As a citizen, first and foremost, watching, whether it be internal fighting or the folks going against each other or the questionable behaviors. I am proud of this policy going forward because, one, it holds me accountable. It holds me accountable to the citizens, to my colleagues, to make sure that I'm delivering this and working in a good way. And also as a support and a protection and, a framework that is going to change the way in which we address issues and treat each other. We are a Métis government. I have children and grandsons that'll be watching the way in which we conduct ourselves in community and at these tables. And again, like my colleague said, I do want to echo that there should be no question moving forward once this is adopted. We have a job to do, and this is going to help us guide the way in a good way, and then again, be leaders that our citizens have voted us in to be. So thank you for that. I am in support of this.
Thank you, Minister. Minister Morasti.
Danse. Bon matin. Leaders lead by example, and that's exactly what we are doing here today, taking accountability for our actions and supporting our staff who work behind the scenes day in and day out. So I fully support this resolution and conduct policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Any other questions, comments? Ms. Langen, President Langen.
I remember when we were in the last technical workshop when we were going over the handbook and stuff, and that it was going to be worked on and stuff was going to be made. But I don't recall getting a copy of the updated changes or whatever's in the handbook. And I was under the assumption that we were going to get that because I haven't seen it yet. So I'm just wondering about that.
It was in the PMC package.
Okay,
that you would have
I
received
didn't notice
last
it in
week.
there. So unfortunately, I didn't see it and I haven't gotten time. So obviously, I'm going to have to abstain from voting on this because I don't know what's in there. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Any other Minister Fullerton?
I just want to add in that too, because of our citizens watching and what's happened over the last few years, and I know that it keeps being, brought up and discussed and in community conversations. What's happened never should have happened. And by adopting this and voting this through, we have an opportunity to make sure it never happens again. So protecting each other and protecting ourselves. So I just wanted to make sure that was in there.
Thank you. Secretary Hansen.
Thank you. I come right in at the end of where the revisions were being done on the Code of Conduct. And we did have an opportunity to workshop the workshop. However, for something this important, I don't believe myself personally that it's ready. There was a lot of questions when we were workshopping it. There's still a lot of holes in it. It didn't have the exact measures in it. Its recommendations were to have certain groups there, like going to the MNLA and having people come in from the MNLA and an elder. That hasn't been done. The measures for certain parts of the conduct, I think, in particularly in regards to the discipline, I think the discipline has to be a lot more clear. That was not clear because with the last situation, and like Beverly mentioned, with what happened, I'm sitting here at the table and I've been involved and I'm not quite sure what really happened. So there's lots of confusion around, I don't only think this table, I think right across the province. So, and with this Provincial Métis Council conduct policy, it's a very huge policy, and has it gone to the MNLA? The first part, has the MNLA accepted it and approved of it? Because if we're going to start disciplining our elected leaders, which I'm not saying we shouldn't if we are not behaving like we need to be, or people expect us to be role models at the table, I totally agree. However, for us to remove them, I think that the MNLA needs to accept this policy and approve of it, because they are the governing body, and if we're going to be removing someone, then the governing body should be aware of it. So I definitely speak against this code of conduct policy, but I don't believe for 1 minute that it's complete. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary. Minister Friesen.
Marcy. With all due respect, Secretary Hansen, I disagree with you. The policy does not silence us as leaders. It provides a roadmap to how we conduct business out there in community and with each other. It provides a roadmap on how we're going to respond to perhaps disagreements around this table. It has no place out there for assumptions to be made, and we all are aware of what's happening at present. So it provides a roadmap on how we're going to deal with conflict and possible disruption and possible disagreements. Number one, their suggestion in the complaint process of a review panel, a hearing panel, and our old ones or knowledge keepers or elders are considered to be part of that hearing panel. That was a recommendation that came from this table in June. So we have considered that revision, and it's been implemented into this policy. It has a place, and as mentioned, we cannot continue to have gaps in policy that allows people to conduct themselves inappropriately in community, particularly if you've been an elected person by the citizens who number one, expect you to conduct yourselves accordingly at this table. So with all due respect, I see that this is a fulsome policy. It has been reviewed by professionals, by our legal, by external legal, by our department, and I'm good with it. I trust the experts who have revised and completed this with all our eyes on it. So I am in favor, and I do support this policy 100%. Merci.
Thank you, Mr. Friesen. Minister Morasti.
Here, Natal. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Provincial Métis Council has been workshopped on this conduct policy just recently, and everyone around this table was invited. Just to make that clear, it was on us, and of course, to show up, and that shows our accountability if we did. Respectfully, the conduct policy is a living document like any other, including our legislation. So we can build on this, which we most likely will, like we do our Constitution and many others. Again, this is true accountability and leaders leading by example.
Thank you, Minister. Any other questions, comments?
I just want to comment to Minister Friesen there.
Secretary Hansen, address the chair before you start making comments.
Thank you.
Minister, or Secretary Hansen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just want to comment on a comment that was made that we are all aware. And I know, once again, I really caution with words because we all do perceive things differently, and everybody sees things how I guess where they're coming from. So I've addressed this at the workshop, and before, I am not aware. I did ask for some information which I was unable to receive, and in fact, Minister Friesen, I think you were the one that mentioned to me it's confidential. So I can't base decisions on something, an informed decision, if I don't have all the facts. And like I said, I'm coming in late in the game. I understand, you know, this is something that's moving forward and you've been working on. However, like I said, I am speaking against it because I really do believe that there are holes in it and it's incomplete. My thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Friesen, and then President McCallum.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Just a final comment on the policy itself. This policy, of course, has been the revisions have been in place for a number of years. And because of the past incidents and conflict that we have endured as a team here at this table, as elected, and at what staff has endured, we have had to take a serious look at what's missing here. What are people not getting with conduct and behavior as an elected individual? So it's been in revision for a very long time. It's not because of recent events that this was provided to us. It's been in revision for a very long time. And yes, the recent incidents are confidential, and I will just reiterate for you, Secretary Hansen, that we will be taking a look because ethics is a standing item on the agenda, and we'll be taking a look at that issue at the next duly called, when we are asked to report on ethics and the outstanding items on that agenda. So you will receive information on that in the very near future. Marcy.
Thank you. Richard Quintel.
Thank you, Speaker, and thank you, Norman, for the beautiful prayer this morning and thinking of my family. Thank you for that. As the head of your public service and as a Métis citizen, I encourage you all to pass this new law, because you all need to be held accountable, as we all need to be. And it's not just about recent events. As you know, I've had negative experiences due to the lack of policies in place to be able to address when there's issues. And you know, it's not the first time. It's been years of not having that in place to be able to ensure that our public service has protections. And so on behalf of our 397 staff, we encourage you to pass this. It's been over 4 years that you've been working at this, and as a government, we need to have laws to be able to, hold yourselves accountable. That's what we hear at the Legislative Assembly constantly is, good governance, accountability, transparency, and that's what this government keeps delivering. And this is, this is a lot of really hard work that you've all done around this table, a lot of hard discussions, and our public service is looking forward to seeing this pass. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Quintel. Question had been called, but I have 2 names on the list, and then we're going to go to the vote. Thank you. President Langen.
Okay, I apologize, I do have it in front of me. And I've been going over it quite quickly, just skimming, and like, so far I haven't gotten to the end, but I do like what I see, so thank you very much.
Thank you. President McCallum.
Thank you. First, all we have to do is look at our history as a Métis Nation. I wish some of you, Billy and myself, sat as regional directors when I was regional director, and to be able to see the infighting that happened, the separation that happened between the people that should be working together at the table, separated by self-interest, some of it, but more so having the majority try and focus as much as they can to be able to develop and structure a government. That was a very difficult task. And going into the first term of being president, when I walked in this morning, my wife and I looked and I said, look at this room. There's no groups of people meeting, planning out a process, trying to support their self-interest. How can we break this? How can we go after certain individuals? I didn't see that this morning for the first time. So all you have to do is look at each and every one of you. Look in the mirror. We're not blind to the reality of what has gone on. I can go to any of your regions and I can assess and evaluate what's going on in your regions. I know what's going on. At the same time, these are the people that are listening in today, that they count on us as a government to be able to have rules and carry ourselves in a good way. Look at that incident yesterday. Those incidents cannot happen anymore in front of our young people. Those that are listening here, our staff, 300 staff members that are here. They have to live with that in regards to how we act around this table. I will support this resolution 150% because it's needed. We can continue arguing the point of who's not happy, who's not satisfied, but at the end of the day, it's the best interest of this government and how we carry ourselves and how we should be able to look at others if they don't carry themselves in a respectful, thoughtful way. I don't want to get into detail in regards to what we had to go through within the last month and a half because it hurts. To be able to have one of our staff being dragged through the mud. But we'll get to that point. This council will deal with that. But in the meantime, we have an obligation to our government to be able to have rules in place, how to conduct ourselves as we sit around this table. And I support this, like I say, and I call question. Thank you.
Thank you, President McCallum. So we're going to now go to the vote. Question was called. Sorry, Darcy. All in favor? Opposed? One against? Passed. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go on to number 7.6 now, 2025-2026 calendar schedule for the Provincial Métis Council. Whereas the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan MNS recognizes the distinctiveness of Métis identity, culture, values, and language, inclusive of knowledge keepers, le vieux monde, the old ones are elders, youth, women, and distinctive resources, which is incorporated into proposals and decisions of the Provincial Métis Council, PMC. Whereas the PMC, at its duly convened meeting on November 18, 2024, approved a calendar schedule for 2025 PMC meetings to promote efficient planning and preparation, resolution number 241118-03, setting the following dates. January 21, February 18, March 18, April 15, June 17, September 16, October 16, and November 18, 2025. Whereas the PMC recognizes the need to adjust the 2025 meeting schedule to accommodate the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan MNS election and the subsequent onboarding of newly elected PMC members to ensure sufficient time for orientation, onboarding, and distinctions planning. Whereas the PMC reviews financial variance analysis on a quarterly basis, and it supports effective planning to include the dates of quarterly variance analysis in the calendar schedule. Whereas it is prudent to set dates for the Provincial Métis Council meetings for 2026 in advance to ensure venue availability and adequate planning time. Therefore, be it resolved that the PMC, at its duly held meeting on June 25, 2025, approves the revised 2025 PMC meeting schedule as follows. Tuesday, August 19, 2025, in-person Q1 variance analysis review. Tuesday, October 21, 2025, virtual Q2 variance analysis. Tuesday, November 18, 2025, in-person. Tuesday, January 20, 2026, virtual Q3 variance analysis. Tuesday, February 24, 2026, in-person. Tuesday, March 17, 2026, virtual. Tuesday, April 21, 2026, in-person Q4 variance analysis. Tuesday, May 19, 2026, virtual. Tuesday, June 23, 2026, in-person. Tuesday, September 15, 2026, in-person Q1 variance analysis. Tuesday, October 20, 2025, virtual Q2 variance analysis. Tuesday, November 17, 2025, in person. Dated this 25th day of June, 2025, moved by Minister Mark Friesen, Eastern Region 3, seconded by Minister Loretta King, Western Region 1. Minister Friesen, still so move.
I so move, and I'd like to speak to the resolution, please.
Thank you. Minister King, still so second.
Yes.
Thank you. Comments? Mr. Friesen, then Minister Morasti.
Thank you, Chair. This has been a recommendation by, of course, the Provincial Métis Council and the Legislative Assembly. Finance previously have heard. We just had to find a process on how we were going to review variance. So variance is taking a look at the budget, what was budgeted, and what the expenses have been in that quarter. It's not it's a recommendation that we support the Provincial Métis Council and the legislative members on being, the numbers are always there, but we would like to share those numbers on a more quarterly basis as opposed to just sharing them once a year. I mean, they're always available to anyone who wants to look. We're accountable, transparent in finance, but this is taking a look at the expenses in that quarter and applying it to the budget, what was budgeted, and seeing the variance of how that works, whether we're over or under, so that we can monitor effectively and make some changes if necessary. It's not, you approve the budget as the PMC, it's ratified at the Legislative Assembly, and same with the audited financial statement, which is very articulated on what our financial health is for the entire fiscal year. So I approve and support this schedule. Marcy.
Thank you, Minister. Minister Morasti.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would suggest a small change. Due to prior commitments in August, I would ask that the August 19th date be moved to August 26th. Getting married, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
So that's the first one, August 19, 2025, you're asking for? So I'll throw that to the members of the PMC to change to August 26th.
No?
Well, there might be logistics here, right? Because it's listed at we don't, we have to talk to our staff about,
We have some logistical things. The venues are booked.
okay,
So we'll have to check with venue and come back with options.
does that work? So we're gonna, yeah,
The wedding is gonna cost you and it's gonna cost us too.
okay, so they're gonna look into it, for you, Minister Marasti. You can nip out, take it virtually, like, what's more important? Okay, we'll put to be determined there.
Good enough?
Minister Marasi, does that work to put TBD? Because they gotta do venue search. and
Or you
whatnot.
just bring the venue to the north.
Eh,
Thank you. Yes, that works.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments?
Question?
Oh, sorry, Mr. Lepwick had his hand up, Minister.
Just a small amendment, if, in the first whereas, if you could add Katayak in there, just to show respect for the northern communities as well.
Okay, I'll put that, inclusive of Katayak, Knowledge Keepers, Leviumont. Okay. Sorry, Minister Friesen and Minister King, are you comfortable with adding Katayak?
I am. Me too.
Thought so. All right, thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none? Moved. Thank you. Okay. All right, okay. Resolution 7.7, wildfire evacuation funding. Whereas the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan MNS recognizes the distinctiveness of identity, culture, values, and language, inclusive of knowledge keepers, Leviumont, the old ones are elders, youth, women, and distinctive resources, which is incorporated into proposals and decisions of the Provincial Métis Council. Whereas the Ministry of Health works across all MNS ministries to create a collaborative process to review new and existing programs. Whereas the Department of Mental Health and Addictions is requesting to reallocate $1,700,000 towards supporting evacuations due to provincial wildfires from its 2025-2026 carry-forward budget. And whereas the Finance Committee at their duly held meeting on June 24, 2025 recommended that $1,700,000 be reallocated from the Department of Mental Health and Addictions from its 2025-2026 carry forward towards supporting evacuations due to provincial wildfires. Therefore, be it resolved that the Provincial Métis Council approves the $1,700,000 from the Mental Health and Addictions 2025-2026 carry forward budget be reallocated towards supporting evacuations due to provincial wildfires. Dated this 25 day of June 2025, moved by Minister Mark Friesen, Eastern Region 3, seconded by Loretta King, Western Region 1. Minister Friesen, still so move.
I so move, and I'll speak to it, please.
Thank you. Minister King, still so second.
I do.
Thank you. Minister Friesen.
Thank you, Chair. After the briefing that we received from the department, the Ministry of Health, I just briefed Minister Fullerton on the process here with finance. There is a carry forward in the budget with mental health and addictions that has to be expensed before 2026. So we are looking to reallocate those funds as the resolution states, specifically for fire evacuees and other mental health and addiction supports in community. So Kelly is here at the table, DC of Mental Health and Addictions, and I'll have him just articulate that conversation we had yesterday. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Minister. Good morning, everybody. Essentially we ran into several program delays and delays in hiring and so on, and put us into the position of a large carry forward, and this budget needs to be expensed this year. And so with the fire season and still early, and luckily it started raining and everything and took some of the pressure off, but we know that it won't be the last time, and so we're looking for PMC support on this to prepare ourselves for the next time, which it certainly will come, or some other unforeseen disaster. And so it's just putting us in a position that we're not I guess we're just ready and we're, prepared and fully locked to move on to the next emergency as it comes. Yeah, I guess that's it. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
We have other people on the list already? Okay. And then Matt has to speak to it. So Minister Burnoff first. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Laura Burnoff, Northern Region 1. As an area rep and of the Northern Region 1 that was affected by wildfires, I'd like to give a few key points. It was a very scary time for a lot of all the people, because in our area we work as a tri-community, so we depend on the other leaders like the town, the village, and the Lac La Ronge Indian Band. So we take direction from all of them and from SPSA. So at the time that it happened, we only had about 30 minutes notice that we had to leave the place because of the high winds. And so we, like, it was a panic situation. And then when citizens found out that they needed to gas up and get some resources together, then they reached out to me as well. So I did everything that I could to help them to, just so that they can get to the point to the point where they were to stay for the night. But when they got to that point, nobody was ready, the Red Cross and the SPSA. So people were sent all over Regina, and thank you to everyone here that accepted the citizens from ER1, and Minister Carrier has affected areas as well in NR1, ER1, and those areas that had the fires. And so they, it took about, to make a long story short, I know this is it wouldn't be, I'm just gonna speak to the resolution, and to make the story short, it took 10 days for the government to get everything straightened out. They sent all the money to the town office, to the village office, and to the band. And all of us got the $500 that got deposited into our account. So that wasn't an easy process as well, because we had to upload our utility bills, our void checks, and then our identification cards. So a lot of people came to the office, and we helped them with that. So because of the long time frame there, and then the SPSA gave everyone checks that asked for emergency funding, which was $40 a day plus $20 for any extra people, up to $200 a family a day. So that was given out on the spot too when we returned, but that was too late when we returned, because the people needed the support before that. So then, so according to this policy, it would be good to implement almost immediately to ensure that, but to think of it as the province also needs to put in their support as well. So I'm hoping that the province will be a little bit faster, and that we can use these funds to help immediately, and to also to help with the mental health, and because there was a lot of breakdowns, and yeah, people really suffered, especially the elders, because they had to sleep on these cots, and 10 nights of sleeping in uncomfortable situations is pretty bad. Some people had anxiety attacks, and so we're still suffering the effects of it, the citizens, and it's So this would really help. So I'm happy to see this. I support it. And in the future, if there's more funding because of climate change, I would think of a different resolution too, but that's for a different time. So thank you for listening, and I support this motion.
Thank you, Minister. Our thoughts are with all the communities that have been, and the citizens that have been affected, and a little shout out to the folks that stuck around and fought those fires and did the best that they could in the circumstances that they had. Matt Vermette.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you, ministers, for bringing this forward, and Kelly for presenting. I just wanted to quickly acknowledge as well Julia Holiday Scott at the end of the table here. It's your first time joining us at the PMC table. Julia is our acting director of mental health and addictions, and has really been, helping put this submission together, take a look at what we can do. One of the challenges, just for background information, that we did have responding to the fires, of course, our teams did an incredible job. It was pretty amazing to see what we could pull together in about 48 hours as a government, and how we could support our citizens. We live in this funny jurisdictional void, though, again, like we have for the last couple hundred years. But this one is still a place that we are in a void, because we don't get EMAP funding from the federal government. First Nations do receive that funding through ISK, and we don't receive funding from the provincial government. That being said, we have been working on it. I know Richard has had conversations with Ottawa, extensive conversations and meetings with Ottawa around this issue. So we are going to the table to talk with them about accessing long-term EMAP funding, which if we're able to get it, will help, right? Because we need in-community supports and emergency management delivery, as well as EVAC center support. And so this funding here, I also wanted people to know that it will not affect the operations of mental health and addictions. All of that will continue on. It was just some identified surplus. And so it does meet all the terms and conditions of the agreement for us to make this shift. And it'll just allow us to prepare for the next one, because even though the fires are out for now, as we all know, there's a lot of fire season left, and the summers are just getting drier and warmer, and so, yeah, that's all.
Thank you for that explanation, Matt. Lefty President Langan.
Thank you. I just want to say that I definitely agree with this 100%. Like, I can't even imagine what everyone went through with the evacuees, and then, I'm just so thankful that I have never been put in that position. So I think, yes, this has to be passed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Minister Fullerton.
I am in support of this resolution, and I do want to give a shout out and a thank you to the team, Jason pulling myself and, our local presidents together and being on the ground and, showing up, supporting and keeping us well informed on, decisions and moving forward in a good way to support all of our citizens that came to the Saskatoon area. I do just want to note that Comfy Local worked above and beyond. They were doing 22-hour days. They did like 25 days straight, and really heavily relied on community for donations, paying their staff out of their, their small budget that they have. And so when we're looking at supporting, making sure that we have our locals on the ground, how we can also include them in some of that finance support, because it does take all of us to do the work. And so just making sure that that's included for future if needed.
Thank you, Minister. President McCallum.
Anyway, thanks very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Kelly, thank you so much in regards to the work that you did, and Bev participating and volunteering to work with Comfy Local in regards to the work that was done in the city of Saskatoon. At the same time, our staff with Brenda Rock at Batosh, we had a meeting, Bev joined me in the meeting that we've had with the federal government, provincial government, Saskatchewan Safety, the mayor of Saskatoon. There was about 3 ministers, social services, Northern Affairs. There was another one that was there that met with us, and we had a very good conversation. Again, distinction-based focused planning. When Matt talks about the funding that we have right now, it's not allocated for those kinds of activity, but we have to think outside the box, and that's why I held up that empty space of paper yesterday in my opening remarks. That space has to be filled. How are you gonna fill it if the agreements are limited in regards to what we can do? So for me, our team will start working on emergency response plan. Do we connect directly with the federal government? Yes, absolutely. It happened with COVID happened. We had a very good partnership going with the Middle Lake Tribal Council at that time too, in northern Saskatchewan, where it's an isolated communities. And it went very well. And I thank the council at that time and our staff in regards to the work that they did. But we still have to look at an emergency response plan based on distinction. Again, when you look at the Laurentian people that were, northern people, I should say, that were at Batoche, you know, to be able to compare it, and I'm not going against, I'm not criticizing any way whatsoever in regards to what's available in this province for people that have been evacuated. But as us as a Métis government, to be able to accommodate the communities that are leaving their communities and to be able to be in a foreign place, Batoche somewhat kind of gives that comfort, comfort to where people can enjoy. This one man broke down and told me a story and said, I'm so happy to be here, the way that we're treated, the way that I can walk around, bring my family without no borders, kind of, having that freedom. People living in the Dumont Scouts building, people living on tents and campers, and it's beautiful to see. But if we'd have planned ahead of time, and that's where I'm so glad sometimes and so happy about how our team works. Once we give them a task, bang, it happens, and that's great to see. So but as leaders, when we were having a meeting there, I talked about, Bev and I talked about in regards to how can, yes, status quo is alive and well, the Red Cross, the provincial government, federal government do their way of doing things, but not necessarily inclusive of us. And so we have to formalize the plan in regards to how that should look. Because a lot of our people that are leaving their communities, you know, we have so many places. Eastern Region 3, you know, has that. Eastern Region 2, you know, Comfy Local, this region, Bev region, have all these places that can accommodate, but we haven't planned together to be able to form a plan around accommodation, availability of spaces. And that's what we have to do. And I believe, and I strongly believe our team will pull it together within the next month to be able to bring the connecting the dots, so to speak. But that voice needs to come from the Métis Nation in regards to what availability we can give. So I support this resolution 100%, but ongoing communication, engagement, and negotiation to be able to qualify, justify the area of emergency within the Métis Nation. I look forward to that planning. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, President. Minister Friesen.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to give a special shout out to a couple of people who also supported the fire evacuees that were displaced from their homes and relocated to Weyburn, which is in Eastern Region 3. We had received resources from M&S to help support those evacuees, but I specifically wanted to give a shout out to President Shirley Eisbister, who put us in touch with World Vision, World Vision was instrumental in supporting fire evacuees throughout this province with food and prepared food and meals. And without their support, all our resources would have gone to food. So shout out to Local 87 President Tricia Nikifork-Reset, who was instrumental in helping design, supporting those activities for families. And we'll continue to do that as long as the evacuees from Denair Beach and Creighton are in our region. We will support those individuals and connect them to the services that they need. And thank you again to Julia, who stepped up supporting mental health and addictions with the mobile outreach. So merci, everyone.
Thank you.
And I call question.
Thank you, President. So we're going to now vote. All in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much, folks. Way to support the community. 7.8, amending the date of the fall 2025 MNLA. Whereas the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan, MNS, recognizes the distinctiveness of Métis identity, culture, values, and language, inclusive of knowledge keepers, les vieux monde, the old ones or elders, youth, women, and distinctive resources, which is incorporated into proposals and decisions of the Provincial Métis Council, PMC. Whereas Article 3.10 of the Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan authorizes the PMC to set the date and place for each sitting of the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly, MNLA. Whereas the PMC, at its duly held meeting on February 18, 2025, resolved to hold the fall 2025 MNLA on November 28th to 30th, 2025 at Prairieland Park, 503 Ruth Street West, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Resolution number 250218-05. Whereas the PMC has identified a scheduling conflict with the previously set dates of November 28th to 30th, 2025, and recognizes the need to amend the date to ensure maximum participation of MNLA delegates and alignment with venue availability at Prairieland Park. Whereas Article 2.8 of the MNS Constitution requires that any session of the MNLA provide 30 days notice to local presidents in the PMC, and the proposed amended dates allow sufficient time to meet this requirement. Therefore, be it resolved that the PMC, at its duly held meeting on June 25, 2025, approves the amendment of the fall 2025 MNLA dates from November 28th to 30th, 2025, to November 21 to 23, 2025, to be held at Prairieland Park, 503 Ruth Street West, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Dated this 25-day of June 2025. Moved by Minister Laura Burnoff, Northern Region 1. Seconded, Marlene Hansen, Secretary. Minister Burnoff, still so move.
Yes, I move.
Thank you. Secretary Hansen, still so second.
I do.
Thank you. Any comments, questions?
Question.
Questions called, all in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, thank you very much. Matt Vermette, is Matt here? Okay, I have to excuse myself on this one because I believe it's about me. So I'm gonna let Matt chair and I will,
Okay, good morning. So we're going to move on to item 7.9, reappoint speaker for a 2-year term and appoint deputy speaker for a 2-year term. Okay, the resolution, whereas Article 5 of the Métis Nation of Saskatchewan Legislative Assembly Act 1999, MNLA Act, directs the Provincial Métis Council to appoint a speaker and deputy speaker for the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly, which must be ratified by the MNLA. Whereas the MNLA Act in Article 5 also states that the term of appointment for the speaker or deputy speaker is 2 years, subject to reappointment. Whereas the MNLA at their duly held meeting on May 27th, 2023, appointed John Lajamodier as speaker for a 2-year term. Resolution number MNLA 230527-02, subject to a 1-year extension. Whereas to meet the governance needs of the Métis Nation Saskatchewan and ensure continuity and effective planning, it is deemed prudent to reappoint John Lajamodier for an additional 2-year term rather than a 1-year extension. Whereas John Lajamodier has demonstrated effective leadership and commitment to the procedure, rules, debate, and decorum of the MNLA, and Mike Nolan has shown capability to serve as deputy speaker. Therefore, be it resolved that the Provincial Métis Council reappoints John Lajamodier as Speaker for a 2-year term and appoints Mike Nolan as Deputy Speaker of the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly for a 2-year term commencing at the next MNLA sitting, subject to ratification by the MNLA, dated this 25th day of June 2025, moved by President Glenn McCallum, seconded by Minister Brennan Marasti, NR3. President McCallum, do you so move?
I do.
Okay, thank you. Minister Marasti?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to discussion. Any comments on this item? Okay. Seeing no hands and seeing question has been called, we'll move to a vote. All in favor? Okay, sorry, can we keep our hands up just for a second? Okay, unanimous. Motion carried. Thank you. Now I'm retiring and passing it back to John.
Two more years. Thank you very much, everybody.
And thank for the great work you've done.
Yeah, I'm excited for the work we've done and more excited for the work we're going to do in the future. So that's done right there. Look at what we're doing here. Setting the day, 7:10. Setting the order of the day for the September 5/7, 2025 MNLA. Whereas the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan, MNS, recognizes the distinctiveness of Métis identity, culture, values, and language, inclusive of knowledge keepers, le vieux monde, the old ones or elders, youth, women, and distinctive resources, which is incorporated into proposals and decisions of the Provincial Métis Council, PMC. Whereas Article 3.10 of the Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan authorizes the PMC to set the date and place for each sitting of the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly, MNLA. Whereas the PMC, at its duly held meeting on February 18, 2025, resolved to hold an MNLA on September 5 to 7, 2025 at Prairieland Park, 503 Ruth Street West, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, PMC number 250218-07. Whereas Article 6.2 and 6.3 of the Métis Nation of Saskatchewan Legislative Assembly Act, 1999, as amended, directs the clerk of the MNLA, as defined in Article 2.4 of the Act, to draft an agenda for the MNLA as directed by the PMC and to compile the necessary documentation for the order of the day. Therefore, be it resolved that the Provincial Métis Council approves the order of the day / agenda as follows for the September 25 Métis Nation Legislative Assembly on September 5 to 7, 2025, as proposed by the Clerk of the General Assembly. Dialogue Forum, September 5, 2025. MNLA Day 1, September 6, 2025. Grand Entry, Fiddler Dean Smith. Opening Prayer, Le Vieux Monde, the Old Ones or Elders. Métis Anthem, Loretta King, Western Region 1. O Canada, Recording. State of the Nation Address, Glenn McCallum, President. Roll call of registered voting delegates, Richard Quintal, Clerk of the MNLA. Motions, ratification of Speaker reappointment and appointment of Deputy Speaker for 2-year term. Approval of the order of the day. Proposed consent agenda items. Adoption of the minute taker. Reading of the record of decisions of the November 2 to 3, 2024 and January 25, 2025 MNLA minutes. Adoption of the November 2 to 3, 2024 and January 25, 2025 MNLA minutes. Business arising from November 2, 3, 2024 and January 25, 2025 MNLA minutes. Acceptance of all reports, executive, regional, ministerial, CEO, and affiliates. Appointment of the Dumont Scouts and approval of reactivated local Wynyard 116. Motion, ratification of ministerial portfolios, presentation of the 2023-2024 MNS audited financial statements. Motions, approval of the 2023-24 MNS audited financial statements. Approval of auditor for 2024-2025. MNLA Day 2, September 7, 2025. Opening prayer, Le Vieux Monde, the Old Ones or Elders. Roll call. Presentation of the 2025-26 MNS operating budget. Motion. Approval of the 2025-26 MNS operating budget. Motions. Métis distinction, identity, culture, values, and language. Updates. Coming home update. Clerk of the MNLA and Provincial Métis Council. Conclusion and closing prayer. Dated this 25th day of June, 2025, moved by Minister Loretta King, Western Region 1, seconded President Métis Youth, Provincial Métis Youth Council, Autumn Lang-LaRose. Minister King, still so move.
I do, and I'd like to speak to it.
Thank you. President Lang-LaRose.
Yes, I second.
Thank you. Minister King.
I just wanted to share with you all how honored I am to be able to share with you the Métis Anthem. I as a young person, had been requested by my grandfather, the late Senator Edward King, for us, right? I had been requested to learn the song as a child, and I delayed that lesson. And just last week at our Indigenous Peoples Day, I spoke to it before I sang. And I could see some of my family members in the crowd, and, you know, they were very proud that I was able to honor my grandfather. When I sang, every time I sing, I bring my ancestors with me. And so when I did sing that time, all of a sudden I could see people crying. And I'm very emotional sometimes, and I had to look away. And I continued my song. And after I went and I sat with the group of children that were there, and they were the Michif immersion class of Meadow Lake. It turns out that when I got to the part where it said, "We are proud to be Métis," every one of those little children sang that song. So I just wanted to thank you all for honoring me that way.
We thank you. Thank you. Oh, absolutely, Max.
You were saying that the national anthem will be played by tape or whatever. We have young people in our own home communities that know how to sing it in Michif or in their own language. Why can't we not get some people like that to sing the national anthem? Yeah, I know they sing it even in hockey tournaments.
Point well raised. Matt we have to do an amendment to this. Okay, go ahead, President.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a friendly amendment to the recording of the national anthem. We'll read citizenship. We'll find a citizen to sing that national anthem. And I've always thought about that when we're even yesterday, you know, "Oh Canada" wasn't, I don't think it was sung yesterday. We are Canadians, you know, and we have to, we're working with the federal government, we're working with taxpayers of this country, and we have to recognize that we are part of Canada. So I would like to see in the future that we start finding people that know how to sing that song, either in our language or the English language. We can, I want them to be a part of the ceremony. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. And Minister King, you're okay with that amendment?
I am.
Ms. Langler-Rose?
I am, and I think there's actually a Batosh Idol happening this year, so perhaps our Batosh Idol winner can sing our national anthem.
Ole. Nice thinking there. Good one. Okay, and then Matt, you said we had to address something in here.
Yeah, just one quick one. You'll notice in the document in front of you at the end of day one, it says approval of auditor for 2024-25. We just wanted to note that that was actually completed at the last MNLA, and the Assembly chose MNP as the auditor, and they're already engaged in that audit. So it looks like it's been struck from the digital copy in front of you, but the mover, seconder, or another PMC member would have to make that amendment because, yeah, I can't.
Okay,
So.
thank you. Minister Moras, do you want to make that amendment?
I'll make the amendment, yes, but I also want to speak to this.
Okay, and then Minister King, you're okay with that?
Yes.
President Langler-Rose?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And Brennan, or Minister Moras, you are next.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In regards to the O Canada and our singers, we do have a young lady that sings O Canada in Dene. We've utilized her in Batosh. I also agree with the youth president on the Batosh Idols. Since starting that Batosh Idol years back with former colleagues, I like that idea. It's giving it a soul of purpose, so I shouldn't say we. And that's a beautiful thing, so good suggestion. But even more, the Dene singer, the young lady. But in saying that, when we bring traditional land users, knowledge keepers, and language keepers to the table, whether it's to do a workshop, to sing O Canada, treat them like you would a consultant that invoices us for $10,000. Not saying give them $10,000 to sing O Canada, but don't disrespect them and laugh at them when they're charging you a $1,500 fee to travel from their home community, which is 7 hours, to come and perform in one of the hardest languages in this country to speak. Let's treat them with more respect. We are a Métis government, we are distinct and unique, and we have several languages that none of us here can even, majority can't speak, so thank you.
It's good insight. Lefty President Langen?
I like hearing the suggestions here, and I'd like to make a suggestion. Why can't we make a call to all the citizens and see who's interested in maybe being able to perform these things? Maybe we'll have it in Dene one time, or one of our Michif languages. Like, there could be a lot of people, like, we should just put it out there to get people participating in this. Thank you.
Great idea. I'm sure our staff that pull together the assemblies have duly noted. Any questions left, folks? Question called. All in favor? Opposed? Unanimous? Thank you. So, folks, we got one more quick resolution to get through before we take lunch, and then we'll be in camera right after lunch. So yeah, Brandon. All right. 7.11, appointing Dumont Scouts for the September 5 to 7, 2025 MNLA. Whereas Article 8 of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan Legislative Assembly Act 1999 directs the Provincial Métis Council, PMC, to appoint Dumont Scouts to maintain order and procedure during the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly, MNLA. Whereas the MNLA is scheduled to be held on September 5 to 7, 2025 at Prairieland Park, 503 Rue Street West, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, as per PMC Resolution number 250218-07. Whereas the role of Dumont Scouts, named in honor of historical peacemakers, is essential to ensuring the orderly conduct of the MNLA proceedings. Whereas the PMC has identified individuals who are capable and committed to fulfilling the responsibilities of Dumont Scouts. Therefore, be it resolved that the Provincial Métis Council appoints the following individuals as Dumont Scouts for the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly to be held on September 5 to 7, 2025. John Belanger, Rick Mackay, Josie Searson, Haley Burnoff, Dave Arnault. Dated this 25 day of June 2025, moved by Minister Loretta King, Western Region 1. Seconded by President Provincial Métis Youth Council, Autumn Lang-LaRose. Minister King, still so move.
That's correct.
Thank you. President Autumn Lang-LaRose, still so second.
Yes.
Thank you. Any questions on this, folks? Minister Mirasti.
I'd just like to make a small suggestion that, and after conveying with our Minister of Veterans, Ryan Carrier, that we title John Belanger as the lead Dumont Scout, only in recognition of the work he's been doing behind the scenes and in between MNLAs and PMC meetings and Batoche and other celebrations. He is also our retired Sergeant Major and representative of our provincial veterans at the national level, and would like to build the Veterans Act and many other services and programs and training in our province. So, friendly amendment.
Minister King, President Lang-LaRose, are you for naming John Belanger as lead Dumont
Yes,
Scout?
I accept that.
Thank you. President Lang-LaRose?
Yep, I do.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments on this, folks? Questions called. All in favor? Opposed? Unanimous? Thank you very much, folks. And I want to commend you on getting through that in the morning. And we will be going in camera after lunch at 1 o'clock. Minister Friesen, last comment before we break.
Thank you, Chair. Can you just let our viewers know that we will return after in camera?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes, so those of you that have tuned in, we will go in camera after we're finished our luncheon, and then we will be coming back out of camera for some report. Minister Mirasti, before lunch.
Before lunch, I just want to acknowledge and recognize TP Security, who is in the room. Our lead investigator, Mr. Lloyd Yu, is in the back, and TP has taken initiative in a lot of our northern I shouldn't say northern, provincial communities, Métis and First Nations, and providing added supports to the RCMP due to the violence of gangs, drugs, and alcohol. And even more importantly, he's been a major part of this government and the work we do at our MNLAs, and as you witnessed yesterday, our swearing-in ceremony. So on behalf of the Ministry of Justice, Self-Determination, Self-Government, and as Regional Representative for Northern Region 3, I'd like to say thank you and acknowledge Mr. Lloyd Yu.
All right, we'll now take a break for lunch. One
Sorry,
final
Mr.
addition.
Chair. One additional name. We do also have Sergeant Nathan Venn, who is the Métis liaison for Saskatchewan with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. So, Mr. Nathan Venn, thank you as well, and look forward to working with you both.
Thank you for your service. So we will reconvene in camera at 1 o'clock, and then we will be finishing our in-camera, whatever it takes. Then we'll be coming out of camera, doing a report back, and then we will be done for the day. So enjoy your break.